Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Growth Goals. I am super excited. I know Jen is as well. We're going to introduce ourselves in just a second, but before we dive in, we wanted to create a really lovely container. Many of you are going to be listening to this on the replay, and there won't necessarily be opportunities for big shares in that capacity, but you certainly can grab a journal, be writing down everything that comes up for you that you want to experience more fully, that you want as your take homes. For those of you that are listening live, please engage in the chat. We really want to invite you into sharing what hits home, what feels like, oh yeah. What are your questions? When we get to the desire part, I'm going to ask you, what are your deep desires? What's really present for you? And be cautious, be mindful about what you do share, because we are recording, because we want to respect everyone's privacy. And obviously, in a safe container, that means that we hold privacy. So what is shared here stays here. Anything else that you want to share about that, Jen?
Just that yeah, what stays here, what is shared stays here, and that, as always, kind of part of our agreements is that what the more you bring to the table, the more you receive out of the call. So if you are willing to share in the chat, that will be useful to everybody. And we will only be using first names if we read out something from the chat. So in that way you'll be protected. Also in our video, just know that we've just pinned our two faces. So you hopefully should not be visible in the video, and you're welcome to turn off your screen if that's so desired. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, well, welcome again to Growth Goals. I am Dr. Liz. I am a healer and energetics coach. It is my deepest desire to assist other humans into moving through past traumas and wounds into their greatest potential. I am a retired clinical psychologist. I let that go in 2018 and took a deep dive into energy healing and haven't looked back. So that's who I am. Jen, please introduce yourself.
I'm Jen Burchfield. I'm a health coach and a leadership coach, and my my passion is helping people who are already high performing people move into a space where they are experiencing abundance and joy, freedom, love, success across their entire life. So we always take that full life view. And my other real passion is helping people to get into somatic awareness, so into whole body awareness, and sometimes that's through massage work, and sometimes that's through the kind of practices that we're going to share today. So with that in mind, this call may be different from other masterclass that you have attended. And one of the reasons why it's different is because we are going to approach today's subject, which is, what are your growth goals? What are you desiring to grow into next? What's calling you? We're going to approach it from the body first. And that's different, right? Most of the time, we're taught to approach goals and goal setting from this very heady place and from a planning and execution place. And what Liz and I have found through our exploration of the energetic body and the physical body, and allowing things to begin to rise from this deep embodied space, is that the body leads and the mind follows. So we actually do know from science, from fMRI studies, that emotions rise in the body. And a lot of times, particularly as women, we might really want to couch our emotions as this type of emotion is negative and this type of emotion is positive. And I should try to move away from the negative emotions, and I should try to only be in the experience of the positive emotions. Um, and so where we're teaching from today is the space of all emotions are neutral. They may have different frequencies and different vibrations, but they're all being experienced by the body first. And then you have a 6 second gap where we can choose a response. And so while we're not going to be getting so much into that science of it today, it's knowing that your body creates, the experience, your body feels the experience of emotion, and then your brain assigns meaning. And so if we're able to be like, wow, I'm experiencing fear as I consider change. I'm experiencing excitement as I consider change. Or I'm experiencing frustration as I don't listen to my deep desires and it's closing me up in my gut. um, it's not negative, it's a message. It's a really important message. And the more we can tune in to that message, the more rapidly we can move through, um, whatever that message is here to share with us, and into a space of expansion and embracing that freedom and that bigger, bolder vibration. Um, so today, Liz is going to lead us through some of that from an energetic standpoint, and I'll lead us through some of that from a embodied standpoint, and we'll do a little coaching. So we'll do a little bit of like, hey, what's coming in the way? What might be showing up? So um, yeah, anything to add before we jump into our somatic practice, Liz?
Jump right in.
All right. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is to show me a fist or a five. So a fist is going to be a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an outward bound method. And what I'm looking for is, where are you in your energy right now? Are you at a 0, meaning like, I'm not really sure about this process. I'm not necessarily super excited and I'm a little reticent? Or are you at a 5, like I'm go, 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 on, full of energy, ready to explore? And anywhere in between. Okay, so we have a range. So I am going to offer us a couple of different quick embodiments. So the first thing we're going to do is back up from your computer, and if you can, come to stand, and feel free, if you desire, to again turn off your camera if it feels more comfortable for you to move. And let's just start by putting 2 feet, standing them shoulder width apart, and distributing your weight between your 2 feet pretty equally. And place your hands on the pelvis or on the hip bones. So we're just sort of framing out the pelvis. Well, it brings some awareness to this second chakra, to this area that is where the hips allow us to move forward or sideways. And let's start to bring in a little bit of a figure 8. So whatever is in your capability of movement. We're not pushing movement here. This isn't like hardcore exercise. This is waking up energetic center of the body, which for women in particular is really powerful. Second chakra. This is our space of creation, the place where we obviously we make babies here. We can, as women, but we can also birth all kinds of ideas and creative wisdom from this place. So just moving, just starting to wake that up. And you might even want to soften your knees and maybe bend right knee, left knee, and really allow this hip space to start to get juicy. Maybe the feet need to step or move as you begin to create this space. I feel a little bit like, oh, what's the guy's name? Axl Rose right now. I want to sing just a little patience or something. But we're starting to bend the knees, maybe lift the feet and really get this place moving. And then bringing your hands out in front of you, open palms, in the space of receivership. Start to collect a little energy. So for me, my right hand is moving with my right hip, my left with my left hip. And it's starting to feel like a little flow. And I'm beginning to tap into the sense that my hands are holding an open space for something to come in. Begin to take some breaths into this. So we'll inhale through the nose, maybe for a count of 4 movements. And exhale through the mouth. And inhale. And exhale. And we'll slow down the hips and still hold those hands open. And begin to maybe just spin the hands and allow them to collect like you're holding a sphere, a ball of light. Moving that through this area as if I'm scooping through my diaphragm. And this is our solar plexus. So think of it like a sun, like you're holding a warm orb that's sun-like. And if you feel like changing the rotation, you can do that, whatever feels good in your body. And gather all of that warmth and collect it and scoop it into the heart. Just hold warm hands, feel into the rising and falling of the chest with the breath. The connection of waking up desire, of being in the personal empowerment of the solar plexus, of bringing that into the heart as what may want to be given to the world, or maybe what wants to be received by your body, by your consciousness. And then take the hands and rub them together really fast to get some heat going. And we're going to take your hands over your eyes. So open your eyes really wide. You might want to blink a couple of times. And then cup the hands warm. Experience the darkness. Take a full deep breath in the nose and out the mouth. Blink a few times into your dark hands. And wiping open the forehead, sinuses, the space around the temples, massaging open the jaw. Throat chakra, giving it a little bit of opening, a little bit of support, warm hands, a little love, sweeping everything off, sweeping the legs off, rooting down into the sensation of the feet on the floor. Coming to sit. Once again. And just observe now, closing the eyes for just a moment. Maybe giving yourself a little opportunity to scan the body. Feel where the pulsations of energy are strongest. Feel your seat on the chair and your feet on the floor. Allow yourselves to grow a little bit of roots from the feet into the earth, and to open the crown to receive bright light. And observe a little body scan, top to bottom, how things may have shifted in just that short embodiment practice. Take one full inhale, exhale through the mouth, and blinking open the eyes. And Fister of 5, where are you at now in terms of readiness to receive and presence? Yes. It's powerful. 10. It's powerful to take a moment to shift into the body. Ah, nice. Lots of 10s. I'm going to hand this. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I wanted to share that as
Jen, before you dive in there, I want to give everyone an opportunity to write down, like, just to kind of get out of their head, what are their goals? Like, what, and when you've come from goals in the past, when it's been very headspace, share with us, please, in the chat. What does it look like? I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. I'm going to, be kinder to my spouse. Like, what are those typical goals that are just from the headspace? And let's just get those out so that when we move into our next actual practice after Jen speaks for a moment, that we have it out already. So hand it back to you.
kinder to myself, put my own needs first. Nice. Some body goals, physical health, finding time to travel, being okay with being still. Beautiful. And you can continue to populate as they pop into your mind. As you're here today in this growth goals class, we're going to be sharing about grow, organize my clutter. Yes. Speak it. We're going to be talking about grow, which is our women's mastermind group. And I don't think it should ever be a surprise that when we come into an offering that we are also wanting to share with you a paid offering that we have, and how it might support you through the goals that you're setting. And so I think even a lot of what you guys are sharing, isn't it easier to do it with other people? To have accountability and some support, kinder to myself, more creative, to start sewing again, do more travel, and have a house in the mountains. Wonderful. Some
Love
big
that.
goals, some like little goals, and some big goals.
Love it.
Love that. Yeah, so the grow, the container, I just want to go ahead and share this with you now so you can be holding it in your mind space, in your mental space, and in the body, is a container in which we, Liz and I, follow your desires. So as the group emerges with desires for growth and things begin to unwind, and it's like it's both unwinding the blocks that are getting in the way of growing, and it's discovering what your desires are and wanting to take steps towards executing those desires. As those things happen, it's like new themes just tend to emerge, and it's almost funny how the themes show up for the whole group at a time, and how they sort of will tie in for all the women as the transitions and the transformation are happening. And so um, we have the non-structure, the free flow of being able to follow the emerging desires of the group. We have the structure of having myself give a call every month, a 90-minute call. Liz gives a call every month. And then we have some practices that we supplementally give to you, some asynchronous practices that help you with that integration piece. And the really beautiful piece is that it's a mastermind, that everybody's coming from the space of shared wisdom. And I think that as women, we sometimes forget how to be in community with each other. And we forget how to come into the place of supporting without giving ourselves up, putting ourselves last, without it being from a place of servitude, and rather from a place of like heart service. I'm giving to receive, like I said at the beginning of the call. And so that's what I think is really magical about the masterminds. And we'd like to paint a little bit of that picture for you today and have you receive a little bit of that today through our process. So yeah, less judgment towards myself and to others, which is that's a good one for the group dynamic, because it's like when you're practicing being with, I can't believe that person just said that. Oh my gosh, I felt that too. And I never wanted anyone to know. When you experience each other's vulnerability, it allows you to step into having more friendship and to having this sisterhood and healing this wound that we have experienced as we've stepped away from the truth of women doing life together, which is kind of how we were developed to operate. So I've said enough. Liz, I wonder if this would be a good time to do some visualization piece to start to feel into the emerging desires.
Yeah. So just as a transition, Jen introduced our shared mastermind. That is an offer that both of us really love, and was birthed out of a desire to work together, to have a way to create together, to play, to serve women together. We had no idea of the hows, what it would look like. In our first round, we, 4 women joined us, and we were so blessed and honored that we could let it unfold, and it grew in really beautiful ways. And so we have experienced so much personal growth, and understanding what this container looks like for women, that we've ramped it up, we've beautified it, we have made it even more, which fuels Jen and I from our desire place. And now we're offering it again. And for growth, we wanted to come in and give you a little bit of what it looks like, show you how you can grow in community with other women, and it can be safe and expansive, and you don't have to do it in this masculine way that we have been trained to do it. So I would like to lead you through a visualization. So get comfy. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes, maybe roll your shoulders a few times. Take a nice deep breath in. Inhale through the nose, big exhale out the mouth. Breathing softly, yet fully into the lower belly. Allowing yourself to settle for a few moments as you continue to integrate and integrate all that you're being shown today, experiencing today. Let's just tap into that mind space again, where you know your goals. You have told yourself these goals over and over and over, maybe for decades. Maybe they show up in different ways, and maybe you have new to-do lists on how to accomplish them, new how-tos. Just let it settle there in the mind, acknowledging how powerful the mind is, how creative it desires to be, how much it wants to serve you. And then dropping into the heart. Take your goals with you. But when you bring them into your heart, I want you to ask yourself, what am I really desiring here? When I say I want more freedom or I want more travel, is it because you want more freedom in your time? Like in this space of the heart, align yourself with the truth of who you are. Who is this woman from a heart-centered place? And what are your desires if you could have anything you wanted? If there were no limits, no boundaries, no control, what if there was a way for you to learn how to receive effortlessly? And then I want you to drop in even further. And we're going to call this the gut. And so sometimes this is really like your power center, your solar plexus, and sometimes it's even lower in the sacral chakra. So see where you're called and allow it to be where you're meant to be in your consciousness. So as you're in the gut, feel into the juiciest desire you could ever have. I'm living on an island with my beloved, and it's Bora Bora, and we have limitless funds. All of my loved ones are there. Life feels juicy. Let yourself get really creative for a moment. I'm going to be quiet. Breathe. Try not to judge anything that comes up. Let it be exactly what it is. Let go of any shoulds, have tos. What are your deepest desires? If there was no fear, if you could have it all. Just breathe in. Breathe in and receive that juicy desire. Let it be playful. Let it be fun. Let it be ridiculous. Let it be exciting. Let it be pleasurable. And when that feels like, yeah, I got it, I know what it is, take a moment to write it down in your journal. And then share it with us. Share it with us in a way that feels safe to share. So we'll give you a few moments. Give you a few moments, but hop in and share. Ooh, a beach in Hawaii. Yes. I like what you're laying down there, Jennifer. What else? Where were those desires? Welcome, Che. We just walked through a visualization into the gut. You can listen to the recording to go through all of that, but we're glad you're here.
Yes, my desires for my house to stop breaking.
It's a good one. All right, travel the world with my son. Oh, that's fun, Melissa. I love that. Chris, a community in which I feel comfortable and specifically get my sewing machine fixed in the near future. Yes. Good, good. So Jen is going to lead one of you through some coaching. Some laser coaching, I believe is the right word. But I desire for you to continue to chat in what has come up in this just little mini exercise. What else has come up that's gotten exciting? And I'll turn it over to you, Jen. Dive in.
Yeah, I notice when I go through visualizations where I really let myself go, that there's layers, right? Like, even as I was just following Liz's voice, I mean, there was a layer having to do with the way that I'd like to work, and a layer having to do with where I would like to be living, and a layer having to do with how I'm living my life, with the travel and even just the feeling of peace in my home, and in my family, that I can feel and sense into when I do the visualization. So, um, and it's definitely different when I approach it from the headspace of like, oh, well, it might look like this, like the house could look like this, or I might need to have XYZ in place before I can have, ABC. And dropping into the heart and the gut of like, oh, but I would really like to share at this level of impact. And I would really like to, experience this level of freedom in my life. For what reason? Because for me it translates to security, right? So so those are the things that show up for me when I listen and I allow myself to expand beyond what I think might be possible, and really feel into all the layers of my life and how I want to show up, or what might be possible if, when these things happen. um, you know One of the things that what's next, um, one of the things that um, yep, I lost it. Sorry, guys. Liz popped into the chat, and I lost what I was getting ready to say. So what we were getting ready to do is do some laser coaching. And so, is there anyone here that would be comfortable speaking to, um, you know, to what's showing up with you right now, knowing that your voice will be recorded?
Okay. I think a lot of these things have been crossing my mind. Actually, this has popped in. Feeling comfortable with myself in staying with the negative thoughts that come up.
Mhm.
And I've noticed this week that when I've done that twice, I let myself feel all the way through. I finally get to a place of calm. And
Ah,
it's like accepting who I am, sort of, and that it's okay. And that really makes me feel so much better that I could do that.
yeah, yeah. So what I hear you saying, Christine, is that when you actually stay present with the emotions that are rising, and you've started to veer away from the labeling of the negative and the positive, that you've been able to reach at least neutral, or what else has been available to you on the other side of that?
Right, because when I did that and I realized I had some really busy times coming up in the next few minutes or the next hour or whatever, I could handle that
Mhm.
very much better. I was calmer than I've been, about it after, and then relating to people and things like that, where I've had difficulty before, it just was a lot easier. And, I really believed it was because I did that. I did really felt all the way through those feelings all the way through. And that makes me happy.
Yeah. What was
And
available to you on the other side was relatability, was accessing a space of calm that you haven't noticed before, and that was exciting.
Yeah, that I could actually go through that and not continue to sling arrows at myself about those negative feelings.
Mhm.
And it's such a feeling of acceptance after the second time. I was very happy
Yeah,
I got that to that place.
yeah.
and Chris, would you say that this was a goal of yours for a while?
No, not totally. No, I mean, yeah, I've heard it. I guess this woman I was reading about, a Buddhist, Pema Chodron, and I had a magazine of hers for quite a while, and I would pick it up and put it down. I couldn't quite get through it. And then last week I picked it up and I read it and it made sense to me. And she talked all about the negativity, and I was relating that it was what you were talking about, neutrality,
Mhm.
getting to a place of neutrality. And so I, that I just got there, I guess.
Yeah, what I love about that is that for me, you're sharing something that demonstrates how things come in for us, sometimes all in a flood, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
it can be in our awareness for a long time. And then suddenly, it becomes available, becomes accessible, right? Like Liz and I, or like, one of these weird, strange concepts, like a deep concept. And then suddenly it becomes accessible because something in your energy shifts, or because you do something different to access the energy, to access the information, which it sounds like you did. You stepped into a different relationship with it.
mhm.
So, and Melissa was just saying, yeah, she has had a book of hers and it's hard to get through right now. So, Melissa, when you hear that, when you hear about Christine's experience, I'm curious what shows up for you, if you're willing to share.
Yeah, when she just said that and said her name of the author, and she was saying how she went through that and got to neutrality, to just go through it and not stop and let that cycle of repeat negativity go through your mind, it just kind of clicked for me just now, like, okay, if Christine can do it, I can do it. And she's read some of Pam's stuff, then maybe I could pick the book back up. Because I was trying to read through it in the last few weeks, but I've been going through some stuff emotionally and it just wasn't the right time. So I put it down. So now I'm okay with picking it up again.
Yeah, a little less judgment, I'm hearing. Yeah. Yeah, so this is a beautiful example, right? Like, I promise I didn't know who was going to be on the call today because Liz got the list, and I didn't get on with these two beforehand to plan out this. But it's a beautiful example of how, number one, things tend to show up for a lot of people at the same time, you know, and how we, in hearing each other's experience, can be encouraged to move through our own experience in a place that is less judgmental. And you know, and it makes it more accessible, right? When we step away from judgment for ourselves, we step into possibility.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah. I also I have to throw in one more thing. This is very important that I realized that during that time when I was going through these emotions and I was just angry and this and that. And then I just said, put your hand, I've heard this so many times, on your heart. And it was the first time when I did that I felt like, you know, and you know, I hear you, I love you, blah, blah, you know, oh, on and on. I accept you. I accept what you're saying, and I'm so sorry, you know, and it actually, I kept going back to that through that whole thing, and that's what I was doing.
yeah. So everybody, let's take our hand to the heart. This is really a beautiful offering that Christine has just shared. So placing your hand on your heart, take a moment again to feel the rise and fall of the chest, of the breath. And to just ask the heart if there's anything that it needs to share with you. Internally, sweetheart. Allowing yourself to sense into anything that the body is carrying here. Christine mentioned forgiveness, some grief, love. As we come back into the space, and your hand might want to stay, it might want to fall away, whatever feels good in your body. What is that like to sense into what the body wants to share with you? To quiet yourself and allow yourself the opportunity to access that. What is that like? Is that different? Is it familiar? Does anyone have a share?
My heart is so happy to share that I've shared that. I it's just so happy. But
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so we start to get a sense of, you know, what's available when we listen to the body. And we start to get a sense of what's available when we do that in community. And you know, when Liz is going to be doing a energy clearing for us next, as we you know, as sort of a final step in today's process. when Liz steps into the space of doing energy clearing, we're able to, pretty rapidly move through stuff that might otherwise take a very long time if we're trying to do it all in a cognitive head-centered process. Might otherwise take a really long time, which of course Liz was sharing is why she does the work she does, instead of why she's moved away from counseling. If it's new for you, I just want to acknowledge that it may be different. Some of the people who are here physically are already know Liz, but if it's new for you, it may be different. And so my invitation to you is just to be curious, right? Just now, as we're getting ready to receive a different kind of healing, to just be curious about, again, what's possible, what things might show up for you, what the questioning mind might do, what the body might do in terms of like relaxing in and experiencing something different. And what the heart might get excited about, and what the heart might lead you to. So I'm opening that up, that curiosity space, because you might end up after the clearing wanting to chat in a little bit about what showed up for you as you experience a little bit of a different way of processing through and making way. So Liz.
Yes. So I will take over here. I'm going to lead you through this energy clearing. And I want to also say I'm mindful for time. I know many of you are taking breaks from work. And so we're going to try really hard to close at 2 Eastern time. So take a nice deep breath in. And see, sense, or feel into a beautiful white golden light coming from source, from divine, from God, pouring through the crown, the head, right down the center channel. And as you fill up with this divine source light, source energy, it begins to rattle and shake some of your blocks. And as it moves down the body, like a nice, gentle flow through, you can say a silent prayer to yourself, a prayer to God if you choose, of release, of letting go. Something to the effect of, I now release all that is not in my highest good. You can open up the soles of the feet, and this light energy begins dropping out into the earth. And what do you want to put in this stream of energy moving through? And what we're talking about here is, what are you really ready to let go? What blocks, what wounds, what energies are keeping you stuck in a pattern of not creating the life of your dreams? So maybe it's, I don't have enough money, I'm not brave enough, I'm not worthy. I'm going to be quiet for just a moment, maybe 30 seconds, and put everything that you are ready to let go of, all the blocks, all the patterns, all the habits, all the negative thinking, in this stream of light, and let it float right down. Noticing your body getting lighter as you let go. Noticing things getting softer in the body as you release. And take one final breath where you release all the things that you don't know are blocking you, all the old patterns, the things that you're not quite conscious of, that your soul knows about, but your conscious mind isn't there. And it doesn't need to be there. Just to let it float down and out. We'll use a clearing statement to seal this. We delete, uncreate, and destory all low frequency energy that is blocking or not serving your highest good at this moment in time. And we do that across all time, space, dimension, and reality, all the way to 0 point. Now, as this light continues to move through you, it shifts slightly. So for some of you that are very visual, you might get an image, or you might get a color change, right? So you might get a violet, there are some blues popping up, some silvers. Let it be whatever it is. Receive this divine light like a gift. This is how we actually embody our goals, through receiving them. So soften to receive and allow this flow, this beautiful light, to move through you as you receive your wildest dreams. You receive the fun, the pleasure, the desires, the trips, the peace, the calm, the self-love, serenity, and sometimes even just surrender. Allow that to move into every cell in your body, seeping all the way down into your DNA, as if it's your birthright to receive this much at this time in your life. And then drop that out of your feet, down the legs, out the soles of the feet, anchoring it into the earth. Beautiful. When that feels complete for you, you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Take an activating breath. Flutter open the eyes. And we have just a few moments. So if you want to chat something in about that experience, please do. And it doesn't have to be about the experience. It could be anything from our call today. Anything that you received from this call, any wisdom that dropped in. Jen and I are just like shining the lights. You guys hold the wisdom, right? We're just like shining the light on this little area for you to go, oh, yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah, I think one of the ways in which we get stuck in the masculine, which is, we don't want to couch it like feminine is positive and masculine is negative.
Absolutely.
We all are both, is what I'm trying to say. But we as females need to learn how to honor our feminine, softer approach to doing things. And, knowing the how is often one of the biggest blocks to action, to expression of whatever the desire is we get caught up in, oh, but I'm supposed to know the how, and I'm supposed to make it into a SMART goal, and I'm supposed to go step by step by step by step. And while sometimes there is a place for that, it also often is the block. It is often the thing that stops us from creating traction and movement and being able to be embodied in what we desire, because the steps might be too many, or it might feel like, it's so far down a path that I'm not sure how to create. And that's part of the role of the Grow Mastermind group, is making it feel smaller and helping you to see your own progress and your own traction over just a very short period of time. We do it in 3-month chunks. So in just a very short period of time, you might come, quite far. And sometimes you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So Melissa was sharing, I'm ready to just be me and let my creativity bring me abundance and peace. Jennifer said, when you were speaking about seeing different colors, I didn't see it, but then shortly after I did see purple. Was that a different experience for you? Yeah. Yeah. So isn't it, I want to say, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool when we get to have a new and different experience
Yeah.
through sharing gifts, you know.
Expands us.
Yeah.
Before we close, does anyone have any questions that we could answer? And I will say that the recording will go out tomorrow morning, I believe. And in that email will be a discount code. So if we have sparked your interest around our mastermind program and you want to know more, you can pay attention to that email. There's be a lot more details. You're also welcome to just reach out to Jen and I. We're happy to have a conversation about it. Okay. Any questions, my dears? I do not see any. You're so welcome. Thank you all for showing up. For some of you, taking a leap of faith and trying something new. And this is a lot of fun for Jen and I. I'm speaking for you, Jen, but we spoke this morning. We like to go on walks at like 6:30 in the morning, and we live in different towns, but we'll chat while we walk. And I was like, I'm so excited about today. And she's like, I am too. So thank you for letting us be here and share what we love to do. And share our gifts and our offers to the world. So we appreciate you in that.
And we hope that it sparks that sense of desire and possibility in you to share and to step into what you may not have thought was possible.
Yes. All right, dears, I'm going to end the recording. Thank you all so much.